Partisanship.
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 So, what is partisanship? Partisanship is the strong and blind adherence to a person, party, faction, or cause. It's bias.
People are sick and tired of this angry, divisive politics, in Washington particularly.
Our vision for 2020 is to see presidential candidates address the growing partisanship in this nation by being less partial in their decisions and defending the country over their party.
The United States has been partisan all through its history, from the Federalists and the Democratic Republicans to the Union and the Confederacy to now with the Democrats and the Republicans.
Burr and Hamilton famously had a duel. Adams and Jefferson grew to hate each other.
This country's been pretty divided in the past. We went through a civil war in the 1860s. We were divided as to whether we should enter into World War I. In fact, we stayed out of it for a long time.
I'm really concerned about the polarization in this country. And I'm not alone, because 86% of Americans believe we're too polarized and that it's dangerous for our country.
But how do people develop their political positions to begin with?
But I go back, I think, where we begin is where we all begin, in our family, our local community, where we grew up, who we meet, our friends, our colleagues, who we associate with.
We have a particular viewpoint that's only what they hear, unless they have various persons with different perspectives, they will only have their one view.
I work for Republicans. I worked for Republicans all my life. I grew up in a conservative, rural area of the country. It would be considered, quote, a red state today, Indiana.
The 2016 election split the country. Candidates won states with slim majorities, and the nation was divided.
I am shocked and saddened by the partisanship of this chamber.
People are of different parties. A lot of times there's polarization because because they perceive a person for what they are physically. They just make an assumption that this person may not be a person that they want to associate with without really getting to know in terms of the person's views.
If so much is wrong, what can we do? There's a lot citizens can do to make politics more fair.
We want things to be done, then as a voting public, we need to show that in who we vote for and what we say and who we really advocate for. It's really our time to be out there to make a change.
Being open and willingness to listen to the other person's position allows one to modify your thinking and bring you hopefully to some consensus.
Ultimately, the power is in the hands of our elected officials. What can they do?
I think that legislators need to be held to a higher standard. I think we need people who are going to lead people.
There may be some differences, but I think that particularly as it relates to bills, they may be sometimes there may be an amendment you can put on the bill that make it more palatable for a person who may be against it.
The majority of the American public want to see things get done, and the only way that happens is by compromise in the middle.
My vision for 2020 is a community, is a congressional district, is all of us really as the people coming together to demand better from our elected officials.
My vision for 2020 would be, whether it's a Republican or a Democrat, that it be somebody that has a position that's willing to listen to the other side, find compromise, and willing to make that compromise going forward.
Our vision for 2020 is unity. We want to see the candidates strengthen the value of compromise through the nation and acknowledge and unite the different and diverse opinions that make the United States the equal and free country that it is known to be.
Now is the time to set destructive partisanship aside, so destructive, and find the courage to answer hatred with unity, devotion, and love.
Knows that most issues aren't just black and white, and that You got to compromise to get things done.
And I think that when you do all of that, which is to seek the truth, to stand up for what's right, and then to seek to communicate with each other, I think we're going to get to where we need to go to.
My vision for 2020 is
My vision for 2020.
My vision for 2020
is to see the two parties compromise and work together.
Is bipartisan compromise on global warming.
It is bipartisanship and opposing parties to work together in agreement.
Is not to be based on the Democratic Party or the Republican Party, but rather the whole country as a whole.
Is a president who is moderate but firm and can solve climate change.
Is a government where both parties are communicating together very efficiently.
Politicians on both sides of the aisle come together and work on climate change.
We're not going to get anywhere if Capitol Hill is just an argument all the time.